You guys were terrific at the mic. Just a couple of more things we should talk about. Gordy, I know you mentioned, and we talked about this on the phone the other day, your first Olympics, Sarajevo, and then Yugoslavia before it broke up in 1984. You're a guest of ABC. You're on that client's trip, which is really the best way to go. What was it that made you think about the Olympics in the way you do now and the way you thought at that point? What was the impetus?
You know, it started at that Olympics and then built in the 16 Olympics that I've been to subsequently. But it's really three things. First of all, I love sport. And the Olympics is the greatest sporting event on earth. You know, Harry mentioned the Miracle on Ice. To be there and watch that last 10 minutes of trying to hold on to a 4-3 lead against the invincible Big Red Machine, and then you counting it down with "Do you believe in miracles?" I could spend an hour talking about moments like that in the Olympics that all of us cherish when we think about great moments in sports. The second thing is, I'm a patriot at heart. So when someone like my good friend John Neighbors stands on top of the Olympic podium and he puts his hand over his heart and they start playing the national anthem, I still tear up. And I know the pain, the persistence, the hard work that went in to him being at the top of that podium. And when he's there, he's representing my team, my country, my values, my way of life. So sport, patriotism, and then the third thing is Olympism. Really the key that makes the Olympics different is that. And if you'll indulge me, I just got one story to tell, and then I'll shut up. In 1932, a very young 22-year-old named Jesse Owens goes to the Berlin Olympics. And he is competing there under the watchful eye of Adolf Hitler, who has this twisted, evil idea of the superiority of the Aryan race. He's in the long jump, and he's faulted the 2 times. He's got one left. And this tall, blue-eyed, blonde-haired German, Lutz Long, comes up to him, and he says, "Jesse, you're the best in the world. Just set your jump behind the plate, and you'll easily qualify." He did. The next day, Jesse wins the gold. Lutz wins the silver. They become friends. Actually, when the event was over, he was the first guy to congratulate Jesse, and he walked arm in arm with him around the stadium under the glare of Adolf Hitler. They stayed in touch, and in 1943, he got a letter from Lutz from Sicily, where Lutz was in the German army. And Lutz said, "I don't think I'm going to come home. If I don't, will you please look up my son and tell him what kind of man I was, and tell him what 2 men can be like on this earth." 2 weeks later, he was killed. 2 decades later, Jesse Owens goes to Germany and stands up at Karl's wedding, a black sharecropper at the wedding of a blonde-haired, blue-eyed German. That's Pierre de Coubertin's dream. That's the power of sport to transform the world on race, gender, and nationality. And that's why I love the Olympics, and I love all of the sports, but Olympics is special.
Anita, you've seen just about everything. I mean, you win the bronze in 76. Before that, of course, you had the massacre in Munich. We want to forget about the 72 Olympics, but then we go to 80, and you're probably going to win a gold medal, but you don't have the chance. Then we come here in 84, and they pay us back, or the Eastern Bloc does. You've seen the lows, the highs, all of the Olympics from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s through right now. Where is this movement right now? It seems to be, you had 3 Asian Olympics in a row. They gave it, to Beijing in the winter, and to Pyeongchang, and to Tokyo, which is all fine and good, but it doesn't really help the American television audience. It's the other side of the world. But still, it's always good to move it around. So now we've got Paris, Cortina, and Los Angeles coming up. Where is the Olympic movement in your mind right now? On the upswing?
Worldwide. We're everywhere. Everywhere a child aspires to be the best athlete she can be or he can be. And through Olympic solidarity, every National Olympic Committee, and there are 205, plus we have the a refugee team, which is the 206th National Olympic Committee. That's the National Olympic Committee is the group that can actually enter an athlete to compete, so they're very important. So we're all over the world, and Olympic Solidarity supports athletes training and equipment and coaching.
I think back to when I first started to watch the Olympics as a kid and as a young adult, and almost all of the emphasis, or the vast majority, was on men's sports. And then all of a sudden, the women began to, I think, make tremendous inroads. How do you look at it right now?
We're not perfect, but every sport on the program has events for both women and men. It is a rule. No sport can come on the program because, after all, this is the way the world is. And why shouldn't the Olympic Games represent the world? We weren't for a while, and when I became an IOC member, I looked around and I thought, we were in Vienna. There was dancing. I thought I better take some ballroom dancing lessons because I was the 5th woman elected to the IOC, a membership of 100, so the chances of needing to dance were pretty good.
Sure. You know, Gordy, I think too about the Olympics, and I'm sure you have as well. Some of these sports which we never paid attention to because of the Olympics became big-time sports. Gymnastics would come to mind, Nadia Comaneci and Olga Korbut. Swimming, you know, Mark Spitz and John Neighbor, and the great swimmers, of course, Michael Phelps, of more recent vintage. It's amazing to me, your thoughts on some of these other sports which we don't think about and how the Olympics can shine that very bright spotlight on them.
Okay, I'm going to be like a politician. I'm going to take your question and change it a little bit and talk about something that we should talk about. You talk about other sports. I think we should not leave the stage without talking about the Paralympics, which have become a big part of the Olympic movement. They have really, in the last, they really kind of took off after London, but our para-athletes are amazing. I went to a donor event a few years back at Jeff Yang, one of our great supporters and vice chairman of the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic Foundation, who's here tonight. And I sat down at the table, and I sat next to this woman who had a beautiful white pantsuit on, and I had not met her before. And we sat down, and I said, "Tell the table your story." Her name was Jessica Tatiana Long. And she sat down, and so Jessica was born to 16-year-old parents in Siberia, and she had a disease that had her born without almost all of the bones in her lower leg. She was immediately put up almost at birth in a Siberian orphanage. Now, what are the chances of a kid in a Siberian orphanage with no legs, or with no bones in their legs, having a fulfilling life? She was adopted by Beth and Steve Long, a couple in Maryland that had their own children, but had something in their heart for taking on a disabled child. So they adopted, she and her brother. They come over. She gets involved in sports. She ends up loving swimming. I'm skipping ahead. She had her legs amputated from the knees down, had like 23 surgeries, had prosthetics put on, goes on to swim. At 12 years old, she goes to the 2004 Olympics in Athens, Paralympics in Athens, wins 3 gold medals. She goes on to compete in 5 Paralympics win 29 medals and 16 gold medals. When she gets up in front of our donors and she says, no matter what cards you're dealt in life, you never give up, it's an amazing thing. And again, it's the transformative power of sport, and the Paralympics is a critical part of the Olympic movement, and we never should, let that off the agenda.
No, you're so right. I mean, when it started, I think people thought, what is that? And yet it's become so gigantic and so important, obviously, and a great part of the Olympics. The Olympics provide, of course, as I said before, so many memories. Anita, you've seen it all. Apart from your bronze medal in Montreal, you have a favorite Olympic moment?
Oh, just one favorite moment? No.
All right, give me three.
I've got a lot of them. Yes, standing on the podium, we wanted a different color medal, so we were not as pleasant as we might have been getting out of the boat, but standing on the podium and knowing that my flag was one of the three going up the poles. I didn't get to sing my favorite tune, but that was for later. It's a great honor to represent your nation, even though they don't really know that you're representing them.
Yeah, again, as the Olympians here know, I mean, there's nothing like hearing the Star Spangled Banner when you're
like
standing
it.
up there.
Yeah.
Gordy, your favorite Olympic moment that you've seen in person?
Well, again, I could spend an hour and give you 50, but because in college, I was a swimmer in college. And unlike John Neighbor, who led USC to 4 championships, I was the bench in a D3 school. But I did swim and I loved it. So one of my favorite moments was Beijing 2008, last race, 4x100 relay. Michael Phelps has won 7 medals. He's going for his 8th. And they're going up against the French team, who's the world record holder, anchored by the world record holder, Alain Bernard, Frenchman who's the world record holder in the 100. Phelps takes off first. First three swimmers go, and by the time Alain Bernard jumps in the water, he's a body length ahead, and we're anchored by Jason Lezak, who is a journeyman relay guy, never won an individual gold medal in freestyle, never met an individual medal in freestyle. They go down the field, they go down the pool, they do a flip turn, they come out. Alain Bernard is a length ahead. Go on YouTube and listen to the call of the last 50 meters. The announcer says he'll never catch Alain Bernard. I hope the U.S. can hold on for silver. 25 meters later, it dawns on this guy. I hope it wasn't you. It dawns on this guy. It wasn't you, was it? It dawns on this announcer that he's actually reeling in Alain Bernard. And he reels him in, and they win, and Phelps gets his 8th medal. He swam the fastest 100 freestyle in history, and he never won an individual freestyle medal. It was an amazing moment, and I could give you 50 more like it. The Olympics are unreal.
The announcer at the end should have said, "Do you believe in debacles?" Anita, finally, the Olympics coming to our city. And you were here in '84, obviously. Just what it means to you to have the Olympics come back to our turf.
It's both thrilling and frightening. It's thrilling because I know we can do it. It's frightening because I know we can do it. So it's a lot of responsibility that we have. When I was working the village at USC, I said to the staff, hey, listen, these are 7,500 of your closest friends you've invited over for 2 weeks. Be nice. And we'll have to be nice to them. The frightening thing is the expectations are so high for LA. We're going to have to not just hit a home run, but what's more than a home run? Whatever that is.
Grand Slam.
That's what we'll have to, okay, Grand Slam. We'll have to do more than we did in '84. In '84, we were kind of under the radar. No one knew what we were up to, so we had a bit more room to move. But we'll get it done. We have the venues, we have the people. If there ever were a place where the games should be always, if there's ever a place for the games to be forever, it's not ancient Greece, it's really too hot there, or Athens. It's right here in Southern California. We're always ready.
Same for you, Gordy. Just your thoughts about we'll be at the center of the universe for those 2 weeks in 2028.
You know, again, it's like in 1984, the Olympics changes people. People, the people of Los Angeles were amazing. You know, everybody from every walk of life was volunteering somewhere, and there was just a great collegial spirit and a friendship and a warmth that the city exuded for those 2 weeks that only the Olympics can draw out of a city.
Wrap it up with one bonus question. You're such a distinguished gentleman. You meant so much to the I want to call you Gordon. How did it get to be Gordy?
Yeah, I've been Gordy forever, and people keep trying to change it to Gordon because it sounds more formal, but you know what, I'm Gordy. My philosophy in life is, you know, Gordy is great, Gramps is great, you know, whatever, whatever people want to call me is great.
You're the Gordie Howe of the Olympics. Listen, you folks have just been fantastic for this whole movement. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for being here tonight.
I'm going to please welcome back to the stage Dr. Gerald Green.
They didn't trust me with the other mic, so they gave me my own. And Rich and I are co-chairs. This is really just a chance for us to thank you one more time for everything that you've done tonight. If we can have a round of applause actually for our servers and the people that prepared the food for us tonight. Of course, Gordy and Anita. This has really been a dream in the sense that it brings so many organizations that so many of us care about together. Between the Olympics and the Olympic movement, the Pacific Council, we've got the California Community Foundation, a number of organizations that many of us are involved in, and just a big chance to say thank you. So a way to give back to all of you is that, as you know, you've got the sports memorabilia on your table. Under one of your seat cushions, you can now make noise, because if you're going to have to actually look under the seat cushion. One of you at each table will have this card, and that card gives you, if you want it, the sports memorabilia on the table. You get to take that home. Congratulations to the winner. Oh, my wife Alicia is taking one home. Woo! So, also at each of your table is the Olympic trivia book. In the spirit of the Olympic movement and in the spirit of the Pacific Council, please negotiate at your table and decide who should take that home with them. But overall, a chance to say thank you. We appreciate all you've done for us, and have a great evening. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join us for dessert and coffee in the courtyard. And may we have all the honorees and athletes come up to the front of the stage for a photo. Thank you so much.
If we can get the athletes, if we could get the athletes to come forward so we can take a group picture with all of you. All of the athletes, please come to the front of the room so we can get a picture of you. That would be great. Thank you for joining. All the athletes, please come up to this area. We'll get a picture. Thank you all again.